ResortLoop.com is proud to be sponsored by Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. Joffrey's now offers coffee subscriptions. You can order a 3, 6, or 12-month subscription. You can choose from 3 collections: the Flavored Coffee Collection, the Roastmasters Collection, or the Disney Signature Coffee Collection. Each collection includes 3 bags per month. With the Joffrey's Coffee subscriptions, never run out of great coffee again. Learn more and order at Joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. This is ResortLoop.com. You stumbled upon the gateway to the magic. And speaking of gateways to the magic, joining us is the Magic Keeper himself, a Florida resident. You've heard him on the show before. He's going to give us a little insight into his trip on the parks. It's Super Looper. This is where I insert the drum roll. Jeremy Hunt.
Hey, Tim. Good to be back.
Jeremy, how are you doing?
Doing good. Fresh out of a park. Actually, 2 of them.
Fresh
and
out
it's
of
hot.
Excellent. How's your family doing? Let's make sure everybody's okay before we move on with the show.
Family is good. We're dodging COVIDs, and everybody's happy and well so far.
You're dodging them like poison darts.
That's right, man.
Like you're in the Matrix.
We're in Florida, so you got to dodge them.
We're in Ohio. We probably won't be too far behind you. But anyway, so Jeremy, you recently went back to the parks. No,
we did.
That's fantastic. We recently just did a show.
That was great.
Oh, thank you so much.
It was nice to hear about the Magic Kingdom because that's one of the parks we haven't been back to yet. And the show was awesome. Way to go, guys.
Oh, thanks. But that was the Magic Kingdom. You've been to a couple other parks. What I want to hear is your take on the other parks. Like, what was your experiences with Disney reopening?
Well, we experienced an annual pass day at Animal Kingdom, and we've since done a normal reservation day at Animal Kingdom. So it was kind of cool to see if there was any difference there. And then we recently did a reservation day at EPCOT. So just to kick it off, the first thing we did was Animal Kingdom. And so first thing, park capacity, very low. And I think that was the same at Magic Kingdom. It was very low at annual pass day. And we wondered if it was going to be ratcheted up some for the normal reservation day. And it may have been a little, but not much. Almost everything was still walk on both days. So
now, was the capacity anything you can compare it to prior to this?
No, see, we haven't done any of the hard ticket events. I imagine it's something like that, but I really can't say.
Okay.
But I've never been in a park where we can do everything. And we'll get into that, but we actually did. Normally we don't. So we're pass holders and we're locals. And so normally when we show up, we have a couple of things that we plan to do. Hang out a little bit, enjoy the vibe, get some food, and go home because we're not going to wait in lines, and you often can't get a fast pass. But in this case, you can literally do everything, and we did in some cases more than once. Did a couple of rides.
Wow!
So I thought I would mention the entrance procedure just briefly because we were one of the few who encountered the new Evolve system and failed. We were bad. So. I guess even before that, when we showed up both days at Animal Kingdom, they, instead of like the old days where you go through the ticket booth or the toll booth rather, and head onto the parking lot and you're just parked and off you go, they queue everybody up in their cars so that not everyone can storm the gates at the same time, which was really good. And then when you arrive, you're in a socially distanced line and you go through the new Evolve machines, which theoretically are able to spot bad things in bags and purses, and you just walk through. So it is really smooth when it does what it's supposed to do. We, however, were one of the unlucky ones where it said, nope, these are bad people, and they pull us to the side, and you have to unload your entire baggage. And so they pulled us to the side. They gave us a tub, not unlike an airport, and they said, please unload your bag. And we said, everything? And they said, yes, everything. And as many of you who are veteran park goers probably can attest to, we pack a lot of stuff, including changes of clothes and a great many other various and sundry unmentionables. And so we had to unload all of that into the tub. And an interesting point there was I asked the manager who was standing right beside the employee who had the gloves on to search the things. I said, "Is this tub clean?" Because I didn't really want to dump all of our stuff into the same tub that 3 other people had used, or 10 or whatever. And she looked at us with wide eyes and she says, "Oh, no, it's not."
Oh.
I'm like, "We might want to clean that." And so immediately, like, we get to see procedures unfold immediately, which I thought was cool, because she punches up her little microphone thing on her earpiece, and she's like, we need cleaning solution over here right now. And so we paused, and they actually brought over a few bottles of cleaning solution, cleaned out the tub. We put our stuff in, and the guy searching through the thing says, "Just what I thought, sir." I'm like, "Well, what was it?" and he says, "It's a sunglass case, sir. It's going off all the time." And I'm like, "Sunglass case? Is it common everyday sunglass?" He said, "Yeah, the machine is looking at that and seeing a tube like a pipe bomb."
Oh, geez.
And I'm like, "Dude, you're going to be busy today." And so we put everything back in the bag. Off we go. They were super nice. And we get in the parks. There's no scanning of the finger. It's just the touching the magic band, and you're in. And so honestly, it was a pretty smooth procedure. The next day, we came back to Animal Kingdom, sailed right through, and Epcot was the same, except for we got sent to the heat tent. Or no, the cooling tent. We were the heat problem. We got sent to the cooling tent. So that's the last entry note I have for you, is that we came through, we came in evening, and it was boiling hot. And my wife, Heather, got her temperature taken, and it was above. And we're like, "Oh no, is it Corona time?" And they sent us to the little white cooling tent where they have a portable air conditioner running, and we sat there for about 5 minutes, and then they took her temperature again, and this time they take it under the ear on the neck, I guess, because you're out in the sun and your forehead's boiling and all that stuff.
Okay.
And she read normal after that, and off we went. So that's all the fun entry stuff that we had to deal with. But it's really smooth. Like, for everything that's going on now, they're doing a great job.
So the Evolve machines, because I actually pulled up the company online, you just kind of walked through it, right by it?
Yeah, it's not unlike an airport machine, but you don't stand still and you don't raise hands or anything like that. You just walk through, and you hold. If you have any metal objects, they say put them in a tub or whatever. But we just said, "Do we walk through?" And they said, "Yes." "Do you have an umbrella?" And if you have an umbrella, you hold the umbrella out in front of you. You just walk through, and it scans everything and says, "Oh, you're carrying a pipe bomb."
Okay, how many of those machines are there to go in? Is there like a backlog to get in? Does it cause a backup, or is it nice and smooth?
They had several, like at least 4 or 5, and we didn't really pause when we showed up. It was just a constantly flowing line.
Nice.
Yeah. So we got into the park, and then we decided, hey, let's try to get some headliner attractions in. And so this is when the day really started to illustrate how low the capacity was. So we thought, okay, we really want to do Everest. We got to get that in. So we headed over to Everest, and it turns out it was a good choice, because later, looking at, and I say later as in like 15 minutes later, looking at My Disney Experience, it turned out that literally everyone, apparently but us, either headed for Pandora or the Safari. And so we have pictures of only us, like on our walk from Discovery Island all the way over to Everest. There was literally no one other than us and cast members.
Look at you. And
so that's weird.
Winning at social distancing.
Yeah, completely. Not even. We're so distant we couldn't even social. There's so few people in the park. So we ride Everest. It's a walk on. Obviously, no one's even there. It reads 5 minutes, and this was kind of like the recurring theme for the day, is that attractions would read 5 minutes, but everything in the park was walk on, other than Flight of Passage, which I think read 20 minutes, and I really think it was just 20 minutes because it takes about that long to walk the queue to get up there. And I say that kind of joking, but not really. It is so long of a queue. But really, it was about a 3 or 4 minute wait other than walking the queue. So everything, literally everything all day long was 5 minutes or less. We waited a few minutes on the Safari, just just waiting for them to clean, because they run a few trucks and then they clean and then they let you back on. And so there was some stuff like that. But we rode every single attraction in Animal Kingdom, and we rode Everest 3 times. We rode the Safari, I think, twice. And 2 of the times we rode, so we went on Kali River Rapids, which I haven't done in a decade, because we don't like to get in there and get soaked. And It was the end of the day, and we thought, you know what, why not? Let's do Cali. We've done everything else. Let's do Cali. And I was still like, oh my God, I don't want to be soaked. Because 10 years ago, you ride the thing and it's like a tidal wave pours over you. And so we'd heard they've dialed it back, and they have. At least anecdotally, because we rode it twice in a row. So we rode it, barely got wet, like a little, like droplets, like really just droplets. And the cast member said, hey, you want to ride it again? And we're like, heck yeah. So we rode it again, just droplets. It's a lot of fun still, but they've definitely toned it back somehow. I'm not sure, water flow, something.
Right.
Somebody smarter than me can tell you why, but it was really cool. We rode everything. And so if you're thinking about whether or not to come to the parks, there are many things in that calculus I understand. But if you're thinking, well, will we be able to experience the park? Yes, you can. You can absolutely have a day like you haven't had. And weirdly, even though it was broiling hot and strange and not like it was so uncrowded that it was almost weird. You know what I mean? Almost like, should we be here? Mm-hmm. But still, you get to do everything, like a hard ticket event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so the operation side of everything, we were very impressed, and we have been careful. So our family isn't doing inside dining and a bunch of other things. We could talk about that, but we really have been trying to be careful about COVID. We have some at-risk family members, and we only really went because we're a few minutes away and we have annual pass. It didn't cost us anything, and we thought, if it's not right, we're going to leave.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable, you can move.
And so we went to try it out, and I really have to say, obviously, I'm a big Disney fan. Probably everybody listening to this is a big Disney fan. But I wouldn't have cut them slack if it wasn't right. We would have left. We would not have done any other reservation days. But if ever there is a company trying really hard to do it right, they really are. Everything that they did from the moment we entered the park to the time we left, clearly thought out. This isn't something that they hurriedly put in place. You can tell some of these things that they did, they've had to install new things. I'm sure you have heard about the dividers, the plexiglass dividers between switchbacks in the line. We saw those in Flight of Passage when we walked in, because the line switches back, you're going to end up right next to somebody. So they have plexiglass dividers in between all of that. They space the lines out. They have cast members there to make sure things are going smoothly. We actually saw 2 incidents on the annual pass day where cast members handled a mask incident, and they did it gracefully. I didn't hear any screaming or cursing, at least, while we were standing there. It was along the lines of, sir, we really need the mask pulled up, and we also have a relaxation station right over here if you need to take your mask off for a minute. They were being gentle with it, and generally people, like we saw almost 100% mask compliance.
Fantastic.
While we were there.
That's wonderful. That was gonna be one of my questions.
And I think, I know for us, like, we're just so glad to be there. We don't want to screw it up. And so, like, our thought is, like, we were in, like I told you, we were in like half a park by ourselves. If we would have had our masks off, nothing but the trees would have been exposed to us. But still, like, we wanted to go smoothly. We wanted to stay open. And obviously, anyone can debate like whether it's wise to open a theme park when things are like they are. But this is an anecdote. It's cliche at this point, but I will say, because it's true, we truly felt better there than we do around town.
Wow.
A bunch of people have been saying we feel better at Disney than we do at the grocery store. That is absolutely true, because everywhere around town that we go, whatever town you live in, you can tell me different, but where we are, it's 50-50, it's 60-40, people not wearing masks and people not distancing. Right. Disney, however, has it controlled, and it was really nice to be in a place where it was just working like it's supposed to.
Well, I'm glad to hear that the masks were everyone was being very compliant with the mask. How was everybody's attitude? Was everybody happy to be there? Were some people getting grumpy in the heat? How was the general disposition?
We didn't encounter any grumpiness, and really, I think everybody like us is thinking, good grief, we've never been able to do attractions like this. It's crazy. Now, outside of all of this, there's been, like grumbling about Disney and opening, et cetera, and yada, yada. And the pass holder previews went very quickly. I know many pass holders didn't get the chance to get a preview, and then the reservations kind of have gone quickly too. And so there's been some outside of park grumbling, but inside we didn't hear any grumbling. And the cast members, I mean, it's worthy of a pause just to talk about how amazing the cast members have been. Clearly they have been well trained. Clearly they're glad to be back. We've had multiple conversations and they're glad to have them. We'll just stop and just say, hey, glad to be back. How you doing? And they want to talk to you. And they're glad that we had one cast member talk to us about how happy she was that the procedures and the discipline and everything were put in place, because she has at-risk family members too. And of course, like all these family members are dealing with what potentially may be brought back by their cast member family. And so every one of them is also concerned and trying to be careful and do the right thing and hoping that the guests will do the right thing. But cast members were all smiles, glad to be there clearly. The rides were going smoothly. Obviously, they had their stuff down. I was trying to think, did we even encounter anything that didn't go smoothly on an attraction? I don't really think we did. It was clearly thought out enough to where they had spent enough time to think, well, what are we going to do when a guest does this? Because we just didn't really hit any roadblocks.
Oh, that's wonderful.
In the eateries, they have cast members / employees stationed for cleaning only. So we arrived there, and you could say the same thing at Satu'li. They have cast members stationed with cleaning solution, with rags, with wipes, and they literally just hover. They're not in your face, but they just hover there. As soon as people get up from a table, it's completely wiped down, and they'll even tell a guest, give us just 5 minutes here. We're going to clean this up for you. So we watched that happen multiple times. Every single place where they have people seated for tables and eating, they are cleaning every single time a guest gets up, which I thought was really cool.
That's awesome. So for your dining, were you using the app, mobile ordering?
We did. And so I'll mention Satu'li. We ate at Satu'li for lunch. And one of the things that they're doing there is that, Satu'li has the large outdoor covered area. Then they have the indoor seating area. Well, they have kind of like two barriers. First off, you can't go in the covered area unless you have a mobile order. So they have employees stationed at the entrance to that covered area, actually at both entrances. And they say, do you have a mobile order, sir or ma'am? And if you're like, no, but we'd like to come in and sit down, they say, well, if you would like to come in and sit down, you can mobile order.
There you go.
As in, you can't unless you do. And so we mobile order. You can come in under the shaded area at that point. If you want to eat inside, then it's the second barrier, checkpoint, whatever you want. They have cast members there. If your order is done, you can show them your app and show them that your order is ready to be picked up. You have to do that regardless. But when you go in to pick your meal up, you tell them whether or not you want to sit inside in the air conditioning, which I dearly wanted to, but we're trying not to do inside dining. So we didn't. But if you wanted to do that, you show them your app. Yes, we want to sit inside. They direct you to an empty table. And so you pick up your stuff. They send you to a specific lane. You pick up your food, and the employees are now behind a plexiglass shield. They essentially slide your food under the little gap between the counter and the shield. And then they say, if you have drinks, you can go to one of our, I forget what they call it, something like a beverage island, I think is what they call them. But they essentially have chairs and tables blocking off all of the drink machines that you would normally just walk up and use. And instead you walk up, you hand an employee your receipt. They get your drinks for you and set them on the counter, and you take off. And so we sat outside in the covered area. It was still fine. It's in the shade. And when it was like 106 degree feel like, the shade feels amazing. So we sat out there and we were very impressed. We had at least 2 tables. So Satuli has like the resin tables, I think that normally the 4-top and sit 4 people. And we had at least 2 of those between us and the next party. And they have the tables blocked off. They have some chairs removed, and then they have like stickers on the table that says, please don't set at these tables. And so we felt great out there, and it was a good experience. Satuli is often one of our favorite places to go, and it was good.
Awesome.
So yeah, we noticed that Yak and Yeti wasn't open when we walked by on the AP preview day, and if somebody was there and I'm wrong, feel free and correct me. But I think they were on the day we went for our regular, in quotes, regular reservation day. Many of the quick service walk-ups are open. The Dawa bar isn't open, I'm guessing because of the Florida rules. I'm not sure. I forget that people don't know every tiny Florida rule, but Florida closed down its bars again after it had opened them up. And I think the rule is if you serve food or if you serve a certain percentage of food, your bar can remain open, but you can't serve people at the bar. They have to take the drink and sit with their food or whatever. And Dawa serves no food.
Right.
And so I think that's why they're closed. But all of not all of them, the area near the Dawa bar in Tusker House where they have the outside covered table area, that was open. You could sit there. You could take a drink over there. Many people did from across the street, something or other, refreshments. I can't remember what it's called across the street, but they would bring drinks over. They would bring their own drinks, whatever, sit at the tables, take the mask off, chill a little bit. They had fans running, which was nice. But they had a bunch of tables removed, I noticed. So all the tables were open, but they had a bunch of tables removed so that
Gotcha.
You couldn't help but be distanced.
Gotcha. That's a good move.
So that's kind of a summary of Animal Kingdom Day. It was great. It was boiling, but we got to ride everything. The procedures were great. Absolutely no complaints. So yeah, we could talk about EPCOT.
Let's talk a little bit about EPCOT.
So EPCOT is my favorite park.
Nice.
And I lament the fact that Future World is basically a rubble heap at this moment.
Yeah,
it's construction land at this point. But we walked in. You have to. You know what? I've seen people come in the International Gateway, but we couldn't figure out a way to make that happen. Let's say we wanted to come in the International Gateway, but we couldn't sleuth out a way to make that happen. So we came in on a reservation day, parked at the front gate. There's no tram service, so you do park fairly close because, again, the capacity is so low. There's not that many cars. So we showed up. The procedure's a lot the same, but this time there wasn't a queuing of the cars because we showed up late evening. We did 5 to 9. The Animal Kingdom Bake Day was fresh in our minds, and we thought, hey, let's try to go in the evening for our EPCOT Day. And we weren't really ambitious. We weren't going to try to do a lot of rides or anything like that. So we showed up. The entry procedures were fine. This is where we got tagged for the heat, and we got pulled to the heat tent, and that's fine. And off we went. Got in the park easily. The front of the park is beautiful. The area that's been redone since the monuments were removed, all of that looks great. Mm-hmm. And this is a recurring theme, but from that very point all around the park, horticulture team knocked it out of the park. It looks beautiful. Like the plants are gorgeous. Clearly, you can tell everything has been spruced and taken care of. And so it was just nice. That's one of the reasons, by the way, I just love EPCOT, because I'm a plant nerd and love to just spend time taking pictures of what the horticulture team does there. It's just gorgeous. So we came in, took an immediate right, and went over to the seas and the land and Soarin'. The seas, we didn't ride Nemo. We just went over to look at the aquariums and ask how many cast members remember Sea Base Alpha. By the way, that's a throwback. if you're not an old EPCOT fan, old school. It turns out we ended up talking to a lovely cast member who has been there since the Sea Base Alpha days, and so we were talking about the all that stuff that happened back then. And cool side note, that aquarium there, according to her at least, so if she has her data wrong, don't blame me, is still the second largest aquarium in the United States, which I almost can't believe, but she says it is.
It is really deep. It is really deep. So I don't know.
It is, man. They had divers in. It was very clean. Sometimes we've been in the past, it just didn't look so clean. And it looked very clean. Fish looked like they were happy. You know what I mean? You know,
they're smiling.
Had smiles on their faces, etc. Anyway, so we did the.
They're glad to see people.
Did the seas.
Where have these people been?
That's right. Dolphins are like, dude, you're back. And there were a couple of dolphins, by the way. So we did the seas. We left out of there. We went over to the land, which is my all-time favorite attraction. I know, roll your eyes, whatever. It's my favorite attraction. And so we did the land, and it was gorgeous and very well taken care of. And the tomato trees are growing. And the cool little thing is that they have a sign in there that is just like one of the little plant signs where it normally says a cacao tree or whatever. But this sign says, "We've missed you. Welcome back."
Oh, I saw your picture on Looper Nation Live. That was fantastic.
It's just so good.
It gives you the feels.
It did give me the feels. I'm like, dude, I'm going to choke up in here in the land. So we did the land, and we said, should we do Soarin'? We thought, oh, man, it's probably going to be the one ride where we have to wait a while. It absolutely was not. It was a walk-on. I think it said like 15 minutes, but it absolutely wasn't. It was just the time it takes you to walk that long queue, and it is pretty long, but we got there and just walked right on. So nice to be able to hear the Soarin' music again. And by the way, that also was so nice. It hit me, as my daughters would say, it hit different. Like we walked in and you hear just the old school Epcot music. And even though the crowds aren't there, and even though it's weird, and even though it's construction wall land, oh my goodness. It's just so good to hear that and be back. Loved it. So we came out of there and went to one of our, by the way, I'm just monologuing without hardly any breaks, man.
You're doing great.
So we came out of there and went over to one of my favorite places on the planet, which is La Cava del Tequila, and wondered how it would be. I hadn't seen like how that was going to work over there. So we were going to hit La Cava and then hit World Showcase, which we did. So we rolled into the Mexico area. We came down in there, and they've removed every table and every chair from La Cava. So you can't sit at all inside. There was no wait whatsoever. Walk right up. You get in line. They have a line that circle. If you're familiar with La Cava, you know they have a large standing table in the middle, and they have the queue running around that table, so you're automatically distanced across the table from the other parties, and then you just walk up to the bar, you order your drinks, and then you leave. You can't take your mask off out there in the general, like, common area where Three Caballeros ride is. You have to take your drinks on outside somewhere. And so we went out, and they have those tables out around the outer patio there where you can kind of like overlook the street below you. We went out there and took our lovely margaritas and drank them, took our masks off. I'm not going to say we were a little tipsy because we were utterly starving when we drank them, but we might have been. But it was still lovely, and it was nice to have some air conditioning and see La Cava people again, and they were great, all smiles. So it was a great day overall. They've done a great job with everything, and we didn't stay long. So we were there 5 to 9, ate a few things, and then we just left for the day.
Fantastic. Sounds great. Now, we all know this is the start of the Food and Wine.
It is.
I don't want to talk about that right now, Jeremy. I'm hoping I can get you on another show. We'll talk about that soon.
Always happy to mispronounce food.
Fantastic. But before we wrap up the show, I would like to hear, you were saying it was hot there. How was it for you and your family walking around with the heat and the masks?
So we've been here 12 years, and we know it's hot, and we're used to it. We go to the parks in the summer. That's fine. But I would be lying if I didn't say that masks really take the misery index up. We dealt with it. We did a full day, the Animal Kingdom day. We just motored through and just stayed literally from opening to park close. After that, we decided that for Epcot, we just can't. So that's why we did the 5 to 9 p.m. at Epcot. And I will say that even the Epcot day, it was a lot of fun. But man, currently with the July heat index over 100 and with your mask on and and just the extra humidity that creates and all that heat coming back at you, it was a burden. The parks were still fun. We had a great time, but if heat is an issue for you, I mean, if it's a real issue, like I can't do it, then that's probably going to send you over the edge. And I would say just wait it out. Try this fall, because right now it's brutal. So it's still fun, but yeah, it's a little rough with the mask.
You have to have a high tolerance for heat.
You really do. Even for us, it's a lot right now.
Well, Jeremy, can I talk you into coming on a show here real soon? Maybe we'll even make it the next episode.
Would love to.
Awesome. Jeremy, if anybody wants to talk to you about your adventures, where can they find you?
I am Jeremy Hunt FL on Instagram, and I'm hanging out in Looper Nation really often.
And if you've not seen Jeremy's pictures over there on Looper Nation Live from this first day he is back at the park, they are fantastic. And literally, that one picture will give you the feels from inside the land.
It did. It did real time.
All right. Jeremy, thank you very much. I'm going to wrap us up here. I'm Tim Scott. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, the website, ResortLoop.com. Don't forget over at Facebook, our personal private group. We try to curate very well who's in there. Looper Nation Live. We try to make it exclusive. We try, we don't want people coming in that aren't Disney people is basically how we want that. We're looking for family-friendly fun.
That's true.
That's true. Anyway, thanks for joining us. You've been listening to The Gateway to the Magic. Take us out, Jeremy.
See you, everybody.
Vacation memories will stay with you and your family for a lifetime. The Resort Loop Travel Group was created with this in mind. Our fee-free services will relieve you of the stress and confusion of finding and booking the best vacation at the best price. After booking, we will continue to monitor for ways to save you even more on your vacation. We will check for any upcoming packages and discounts to save you as many vacation dollars as possible. Resort Loop Travel Group, gateway to your magical vacation memories. Get a quote, or for more information, visit ResortLoop.com.